Hello, Wes McDermott here. In this Unity Cookie Quick Tip video, we're going to take a look at how you would utilize the movie texture to play back movies in your scene. So I was recently working on a project where I needed to have like this video play for like a simple cutscene. And so there are several assets that you can get on the Unity Asset Store that allow you to, play back video, and they're really good, and there's some good features. But Unity has an aspect called the movie texture, which allows you to play back videos just directly in Unity without any type of, third-party assets or plugins or anything. Now, the only stipulation to that is that it does require Unity Pro, but in the case of this quick tip, I just kind of want to show you how it works and how I ended up using it in this simple example. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with this blank scene here. So I have this main scene. I'm going to go ahead and play on this so you can see what it is. So all this is a very simple button script, blank scene. It just says play video scene. And so the idea behind this is that I want to be able to click that button. I want to open a new scene, and that new scene is going to play a video. And then when I click the video, or just left click out into the game view, it's going to stop playing the video and take me back to that main scene. So what I was actually working on was like kind of this presentation that was powered by Unity, and so we had a list of these HD videos that we needed to be able to play, and so this is the way I set this up. So anyways, let's just kind of get started and see how we're going to work. So we have our main scene. And just really quick, it's very simple. All it is just a non-GUI. We've got a button, and then it says application. So when they click the button, it says application.load level video. So we need to make a scene called video. So let's do that right now. So let's just make a new scene. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to call this video. And I'm going to select the camera, and I'm just going to change the color just because I never like this blue background here. So let's just kind of drop this down to light gray. Now what we need to do, since we're going to be using application.load level, we want to make sure that this scene is loaded to our build settings. So let's go to File, Build Settings, and you can see that we have main and video, so they're inside our scenes to build. So without that, if we try to reference that through application.load level and video is not in here, it'd give us an error. So now we have that in place. We have video. Let's just save this. We have a main camera, and now we can actually start to add our video. Now, before we do that, I'm actually going to just drag and drop a video file here into my scene. So just like with any other asset within Unity, you can just grab a movie and just drag and drop it right here into your assets folder, and then Unity is going to import in this file. So you can see right now that it's taking this .mp4 video here, and it's just going to import in this asset. And basically it's just going to encode it and allow you to use it as a texture. So that's precisely what the movie texture is. It's just going to play back the movie file frame by frame. Okay, so that took just a few minutes to import in, but now you can see that we have this video file. And if I select this here in the inspector, you see that we have just a few options. We can maximize here our preview window, and I can actually hit play, and you can see this video start to play. And it lets you know that, the size of it, and, the image size here of this video. So this was an HD 1920 1080 video, and we have this quality setting here that we can adjust. So it really works just like if you were importing any kind of texture file into Unity. And again, it kind of just plays each frame of the video, just sequentially, it's just a texture is all it is. Okay, so now that we have this, I'm going to create a plane. So again, I was just iterating that the movie texture works just like a texture, so it means you have to have a material and you have to apply the texture to the material, diffuse slot to get it to show up in your scene. So first we need an object to apply that to. So let's go up to Game Object, and let's do Create Other, and let's just create a plane. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and activate the rotate tool here, and I'm going to rotate this -90 degrees so it's kind of facing up towards the camera. Then we'll activate the move tool, and we'll just kind of move this into place. So I'll just kind of center it, and then we're going to grab the scale tool, and I'm just going to scale horizontally. Now, one of the things that in my project settings, you can see here from my game view, I'm set to 16:9, and this video that I'm working with, it's a 1080p video, so it is 16:9 aspect ratio. So all I need to do is just scale this plane up to basically to the aspect ratio of what my camera sees. So my camera's field of view here. And so we'll kind of do this. Another thing that we could do if we wanted is we could go ahead and set this to the projection mode to orthographic. And so that's actually going to change things a bit here. So what we'll need to do at that point is go ahead and just change our size setting here. So we'll just pull this all the way back. So this way we're not getting any perspective. So in the case of this video where we would just want to play this like one-to-one aspect, we can set this to orthographic. But what's really cool about videos is think about, you can place videos on any of these objects. So it doesn't have to be a plane. It could be a model, it could be a cube, it could be a sphere, it could be anything. It doesn't matter. And you can actually rotate these items in 3D space. But for this case, I'm kind of wanting to create like a cutscene sort of. So what I'm going to do is just adjust this size until that fills my screen here just a bit. Well, here we'll pull it down just a little bit. There we go. So our sides are off just a little bit. So here I'm just going to nudge this and just kind of get this into view. Let's go ahead and grab our camera. Oh, that doesn't, moving in your 3D viewport doesn't really help with an orthographic view. So we might need to just actually type these numbers in. Let's just do 6.2. Okay, so now we have our plane and it's filling the camera view. The next thing we need is a material. So first let's go ahead and save this scene. Let's do create and let's create a new material. We'll call this material our video material. And what we want to do for this material is we want to have it to where it's basically unlit. So no shading is taking place because we don't want to have this any lighting or anything working with this shader. So what I'm going to do is just go to diffuse and I'm going to go all the way down here to unlit texture. And so now we have this material. We'll go over to the hierarchy, select the plane, and now we need to apply that material. So we'll just left click, drag and drop this and set this material. So now we have on the mesh renderer, we have set our video material and you can see that we have this texture. Now if I want to just apply this, like I said before, this video file that I've imported is just like a texture, so I could just left click, drag and drop this right into the texture slot and you can see that it applies the video. Now one thing that's kind of weird is this is reversed and this has to do with the UV, so I could work with the UV offset here, but what I like to do is just physically just rotate it in space. So all we're going to do here is we're just going to rotate this on the X. Let's see, let's just go ahead and type this in to 180. Whoops, messed that up here. Actually, sorry about that. Let me apply this again. I undid it too many times. Let's go ahead and just flip this. Oops, I'm sorry. I need to do the Y. Okay, so there we go. I finally got myself squared away on that. So it's 90, 180 on the Y, and 0 on the Z. So those are the values that we want to work with. And so basically all we did was just kind of, rotated that in space. Again, we could mess with this the UV offset, but I'm not going to bother with that. It's just, sometimes if you can get your numbers right up here, it's easier just to rotate it in 3D space. So now we have that. Let's go ahead and just save that scene again. Now, here's something though that I want to do. So I applied the texture just so I could get my rotation set, but I don't actually want to do this because in the example that I did for the project I was working on I had several scenes. So there was like 10 scenes with videos, and I wanted to make it really easy for me to just apply different materials. So I kind of just made myself something that I could reuse. So, and we're going to do that here. I mean, it's in the case of how this is working, we could just apply it, but let's go ahead and just do none on this. So let's not apply anything, and we're going to write a script here that allows us to drag and drop the movie texture in. So as of right now, even if I have this texture on this object, it won't play. That's because we do need to do a little bit of scripting to get this to play. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a new script for this. So let's just do a C# script, and let's call this video. And so now we have this video script, and let's go ahead and just edit this in MonoDevelop. So we need to do a few things. Let's just go ahead and get rid of this update because we're not going to need that. That's a tip there for update. So anytime you have scripts that are not using the update function, just get rid of them. It'll help with performance because it doesn't have to there's an overhead to constantly looking at all those updates. So what we're going to do is a couple things. We are going to create ourselves a public variable that we can fill with our movie texture. So we want this to be movie, so I'm going to say public movie, actually movie texture, and this is going to be, so it's public, meaning we can access it in the inspector, movie texture is the type, and then I'm just going to give it a name of movie. And semicolon, we'll close that out. Now, one other thing that we need to do with this is this particular video has sound that goes with it. So I want to be able to have the sound play, of course. So in order to do that, every object has to have an audio source. And so we could easily go through, select the object, and then just go up to component, and we could say audio, and then we could just add the audio source this way. But one thing, since this was something I had to replicate over several scenes, so what we're going to do is we're going to require this component. So at the very top of my script, before the class actually starts, is I'm going to go ahead and give myself the require component. And then I'm going to go ahead and close that bracket out. So we've got require component. Now we need to tell it what type of component. So we'll say type of, and then we'll do parenthesis, close parenthesis, and then we'll say type of audio source. And here it is. And I believe that is incorrect. Let's see. I always forget how this works here. I'll tell you what, let's do this. Let's go ahead and just select this. This is how I do this a lot with scripting. So, here's just another insight to kind of my workflow. Like, I know what I need to do, but I never can remember what all this stuff is. And so, you don't have to really bog your mind down when it comes to programming of the whole thing about it is knowing how to do it is more important than knowing exactly what to type. If you can know how to program and what you need to do, that's really what matters, because you can always go look it up. And lucky us, Unity has a wonderful scripting reference. So let's just do this. I'm here at the documentation require component. Here we go. Let's select this. At the top, scripting references for C#. This is what it looks like. So type of, that's what I needed here. So looks like just a couple syntax issues. I almost had it right. So here's what we'll do. We'll just blow this out and we'll paste this in. So type of, but we don't want rigid body, we want audio source. And so we'll put this in. So that really makes, programming a lot easier when you think about it, because you don't have to remember, exactly how this goes. You can just, as long as you know where to look it up, the big point is knowing what you need to type. So in this case, we want to require this component. And then we're going to have a public movie texture here that we can set. So let's go ahead and save this script. Let's jump back over to Unity, and then let's apply this script. So we have video, and I'm just going to apply it to our plane here. And now you can see that as soon as I applied that, because we had the required component, it added audio source for us. So like I said, I had to replicate this over several objects. Now I don't have to do that again. And then the other thing that's really cool is now we have this ability to add this movie texture as a variable. So let's just left click, drag and drop this movie texture. So again, in the example that I was working with, I had 10 or 12, I think it was, videos that were just sitting here in my project file, and I needed to be able to change those if I wanted to, based off because I had to replicate that scene several times. So we have our audio source and we have our movie here. So let's go back over to our script, and let's go ahead and start to work with our start function here. So in the start, what we need to do is we need to apply that our public variable here, our movie. So whenever you have a material and you want to apply a texture, that's done under what's called the main texture. So to access this, since this component here that we just add, this component being this script, because a script is just a component in Unity, we have this script and we have this applied to our game object. What we need to do is we can reference that by just simply saying renderer. So we're going to say renderer dot material, and then from here we're going to say dot main texture. So this is where the actual texture part lives. So even if it wasn't just a movie, remember the movie texture is just a texture file. It could, just like a diffuse texture or whatever. But since the mesh renderer here this is what we're targeting, since this script is local to where all these other components are, I can access them just by typing in renderer, and the script's going to be able to find what it needs. So we're going to say renderer.material.main_texture is equal to something. So this is where we would say this is the texture we want to apply to the renderer's materials main texture slot. And so in that case, that's going to be movie for us. Now, one of the kind of caveats to this isn't enough just to say movie. We need to actually cast this as what it is, which is a movie texture. So in this case, we're going to say movie as movie texture. Okay, so that's something that you need to add in here. So we're basically saying, hey, renderer.material, your main texture, I want to assign the movie, so it's a texture, this movie texture here, but hey, it is a movie texture. So that's kind of what we're trying to say here. So now that we have that in place, we are basically setting that movie texture to the render material. At this point, we're now doing the exact same thing as if we were to have just taken this texture and just do a drag and drop and place it right onto this texture slot here. Now, the reason why we're not doing that, like I explained, is just because I just kind of want to show you the flexibility. And this is what I actually did in my project, just so I could just quickly drag and drop these, because I had so many of them that I had to do. And also, I was kind of in the mindset of thinking, oh, am I going to control what video is playing what base script and all that kind of stuff. So I was just, just a different way of doing it, basically. Um, that's the thing about, I mean, there's always like, there's 100 different ways you could do one thing. So now we have this, and the next thing I'm going to do is, let's think about this. What do I want to do? I want to be able to play the movie, of course. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, now that we have this now that we have this movie applied, all we have to do is just say movie dot, and then we'll say play. Whoops. Play. Now here's something that's kind of cool. If I say dot here, you can see that there's several things that we can do. We can check the height. We can see if this is playing, if it's ready to play. We can tell it to loop. We can pause it, play it, stop. So you can really kind of program your own little video player here, where you can have one button that pauses the video, one button that stops, one button that plays, that kind of stuff. But what we want to do is we just want to play it. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just do the play function, and that'll be enough. So now if we go back to Unity and I hit play, you're going to see that our video is now playing here in our scene, which is pretty cool. And so like I said before, it's right here in 3D space. This doesn't have to be a plane, it can be any object. We're basically just taking the movie texture, applying it as you would any other texture in Unity. So we have this video here. However, we don't have any sound. So this is where the audio source comes into play. So we're just playing the texture, but we're not playing any audio. So one of the things that we need to do is we need to set our clip. So since we have this required component audio source, so that component now lives as part of our game object and our script. All this is basically local, so our script and our audio source and our mesh render and all that stuff is all kind of, part of this one game object. They can all access each other pretty easily. So what we want to be able to do is we're just going to say audio.clip. So we're just going to say, just like we did with the render.material.main texture, we need to set that. So audio.clip is equal to our movie.audioClip. So we're saying, in the case of this movie, and here, if we go back over to Unity, and so here we have our movie that we've imported. If I click this little arrow here, you can see that there's actually a little audio clip with that. So here's the actual video part, and here's the audio part. And so that's what we're referencing right here when we say movie.audioClip. So we've set that, and now we can say movie.play, and then we can say audio.play. So same thing. And now when we do this, you're going to hear audio. So we'll hit play. And so now we have audio. Not sure if you're actually going to be able to hear the audio in the video, but there's audio playing. So now that we have that set, let's go ahead and do one other thing. So what we want to do is we want to be able to say, when we click the mouse button, we want to be able to, we want to be able to just, have this, kick back out to that main scene. And so to do that, what I ended up doing was just using something simple. Now this app that I was creating, this was actually just for the desktop, and so I was able to do that. What do I need to do here? So this one was, I think this was on mouse. Let's just kind of look for that. So here in my Unity, it didn't bring anything. Let's see. I always forget this one too. It's like on mouse down or something. Let's just look for that real quick. I don't want to use the input.get mouse button down. It is on mouse down. Hold on a second, I'll find it real quick. Okay, here we are. Mono behavior on mouse down. So this is all I want. Again, scripting reference C#. Couldn't remember the exact syntax, so we'll just copy that. We'll go back over to mono develop, and we'll paste this in. And we'll just go ahead and complete this out. So basically, this function here, on mouse down, is going to be called whenever there is an on mouse down event that takes place. And so at this point, what we want to do is, we could do something like movie.pause if we wanted to. But I'm going to say movie.stop. And then I'm going to do application.load level. So we want to go back and load our main level, like this. So this is pretty much going to take care of our little video script. And this is what I did. Like I said, this was a down and dirty project, and this is what I did really quick to kind of get this working. So now we'll go back over to Unity, and let's go ahead and let's see, our video file is saved. Let's go back to our main, and I'm going to hit play. So this is like our main menu. Now in my case, I had several buttons with all these different videos and things like that that I could play. And so what we're going to do is we're going to say play video scene. So when I click this button, it's going to load the video scene. And now it's playing the video. Now when I want to, kick out of this, all I have to do is just click the mouse button, and that takes us back to our main scene. So one other thing that we'll do just really quick is we will go back over to MonoDevelop, and I'm going to do one other thing. Actually, I forgot that I did this. But okay, so I wanted to be able to give the presenter that was using this the ability to just, okay, they don't want to watch the whole video, just click out of it and go forward. It might be just a portion of something they're going to watch or something. So, but if the video gets done playing, I want it to automatically kick back to that main menu screen. So what we'll do on this case is we will bring back our update function. So we'll say update, and we'll put our brackets in. And now what I want to do is I want to say if. So on our update, we're going to do a check, and I'm going to say if not, okay, movie dot is playing. Okay, so basically this is kind of shorthand for saying if, by having this, like this is basically a boolean. So if I say movie.is playing, that's going to return either true or false based off, well, if the movie's playing. So right now this is going to be like if this basically saying if movie is playing, so it's saying if true, if movie is playing is equal to true. So it's kind of shorthand for saying, just actually going in and writing out, true like this. I can just reverse this, and so if saying if movie is playing is true, I can say if put an exclamation there, and that'll say if not movie is playing. So it's basically saying if the movie is not playing, I want to do something. So in that case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing where I'm just going to copy this line here, and we'll paste it right after this one line here. So this is real short, application.load level equals main. So now we'll save this, we'll go back to Unity, and let's see, we're in our video. Here we go. Let's start from our main. Let's play the video. Our video's playing. I'll pause this just for a second. Okay, so here we're approaching the end of this video, and so I'm not going to click anything. And as soon as the video gets done playing, as soon as it reaches its end, it's going to kick us back to that main scene. Okay, so it kind of played at the end. You saw that as soon as it was done, boom, it kicked us back to that main scene here. And so again, that was done by utilizing this if the movie's not playing script under the update. So it was just checking that for each frame. Then when that's done playing, application.loadLevel.main, and that's how I brought that back. So that's going to close out this quick tip video. I hope you found this useful. I use movie textures often in some of the presentation type projects that I work on, and as you can see, it's pretty easy to work with. So thanks a lot for watching.